Want to know about a build that is so secretly broken that not even pros know about this? Not even the highest of ELO YouTubers. Maybe like one high ELO one trick knows about this. And is also a way for me to gain back more subscribers because my last video literally lost me net subscribers. Subscribe. Like the video. What if I told you there was a way to have over 100 vision score in a single game? I'm here to tell you about something so potentially powerful. People knew about it for a long time, then fell back on their opinions once this champion got reworked. But I'm here to show you that this pick can be just as strong, if not stronger, than before Fiddlesticks' rework. Oh yeah, this video is about support Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks is a specialist champion who, for being a specialist, sure doesn't seem to have a ton of versatility in its kit and their builds. Most commonly played in the jungle, like 95% of the time, sometimes played in top lane and maybe rarely in mid lane, Fiddlesticks is played to provide their team massive amounts of utility and damage via their ultimate. Fiddlesticks is passive, and the biggest change for a support is a harmless Scarecrow. Fiddlesticks' trinkets are permanently replaced by Scarecrow effigies. These Scarecrow effigies work just like wards but a bit different. They function similar to the Ghost Poro rune, where they will disappear and ping enemies once discovered. However, they will randomly perform an action such as flashing, casting ultimate, and more. These actions are completely fake and are only for mind games on opponents, but that's not all. Fiddlesticks can stand still for 2 seconds to pretend to be an effigy themselves. But that's not all. After level 6, the effigies turn into temporary control wards. Fiddlesticks gets both Ghost Poro wards and control wards for completely free just because of their passive. Fiddlesticks' Q is Terrify. It comes in 2 parts, a passive and an active. The passive activates when Fiddlesticks is out of combat and out of vision from the enemy team. Any ability that Fiddlesticks casts from out of vision that lands on an enemy will fear them. The active is the same as pre-rework Q, a point and click fear. Like, it's the same thing but not really because it can be blocked by wind walls, it's a projectile, and it also has a second function where if the enemy is already CC'd by Fiddlesticks, they will take bonus magic damage if they are hit with Terrify once again. It's like super simple in practice, but the way I'm writing this makes it sound super complicated because I'm kind of stupid, and that should be a given because I play League of Legends. Half of Fiddlesticks' entire identity, and actually the least useful ability in this build, named Bountiful Harvest, is an AoE tether heal. Other than the fact that enemies tethered by Fiddlesticks are revealed, this is the least useful ability for support Fiddlesticks. It does no damage and does no healing. Fiddlesticks' E is Reap. The entire identity they had bot lane in the first place, prior to the amazingly perfect rework by the way, is the fact that Fiddlesticks could throw a bouncing crow that would do 1,000,000 damage. Nowadays, it's a very quick point and click slash at the ground that can silence and slow enemies. It's a very decent poke and is great for zoning off lane opponents. It's similar to old E in execution, but it's nowhere near as brainless. And finally, Fiddlesticks' ultimate, Crowstorm, the big fat ultimate. Completely unchanged from the rework, only now it can fear entire teams, single-handedly winning teamfights from just one ability. This build could be relatively complicated to understand, but in practice is easier to execute than something League of Legends related like maybe Cho'Gath ultimate, because it can literally one-shot execute you stupid shit. Anyways, this build is honestly better in terms of utility than old Fiddlesticks. Effigies allow you to use finished support items as wards, and you can also buy control wards on top of that. Effigies do not consume ward slots, as you can place as many effigies as you want on top of the amount of regular wards you're allowed to place, which is like super overpowered in my opinion, because vision wins games. Let's talk about the build. Your build path as a support is to build as a support. It's crazy, right? It's not very hard to believe. You will hit your power spikes very early and provide an insane amount of utility that will allow you to both solo carry and provide as much support as possible with Lokibo's patented gold seal builds. Let's start the build off with either one of 2 support items, Spell Thief's Edge or Relic Shield. Both of these items are good for Fiddlesticks depending on how you want to play your lane. Take Spell Thieves if you want to be more aggressive and you are confident you can land your E's consistently, or take Relic Shield if you're forced to play back and whatever. The rest of the build is almost kinda standard. You're going to be building Zhonya's, Imperial Mandate, Vigilant Wardstone, and Boots of course. and whatever else you need. Typically, I'd recommend Morellonomicon, because you know why. Let's talk about Imperial Mandate. This item is kinda underwhelming. It's not picked very often, and there are better options for supports because it got kinda nerfed, and whoever used the item just moved on to using Moonstone Renewer. Both Moonstone Renewer and Imperial Mandate have the same stat roll: 40 AP, 20 ability haste, 200 health, and 100% base mana regen. Choosing one depends entirely on what passive you want to be using. Both require you to be in combat and both provide utility in some way. Moonstone heals in combat, and Mandate does bonus damage and gives allies movement speed. Personally, I prefer Imperial Mandate because of the amount of damage you can do with it. You're support Fiddlesticks, but you're still Fiddlesticks. You're still going to want to do team deleting amounts of damage, and with the build you have, we're not going to have a ton of items that will actually allow us to stack ability power. Zhonya's is next. You're usually going to take the stopwatch rune, whatever the hell it's called. Zhonya's is one of Fiddlesticks' core items no matter what role you're playing. Mid? Zhonya's. Jungle? Zhonya's. Support? Zhonya's. This item ensures that you'll be safe after engaging if they haven't already been wiped. Also, your ultimate will continue to channel in the stasis. And the final big player of this item is Vigilant Wardstone. This item is sleeper OP. It allows you to store control wards and gives you bonus stats once fully completed. It gives you one extra ward slot and increases your AD, health, AP, and ability haste by 12%. That's pretty huge, giving you all those stats on all of those stats. The secret strategy to this build is to take advantage of the amount of vision control that you have. Since you have access to regular wards, control wards, and effigies, almost no corner of the map will be unvisioned. Lee Sin will, the map will be so bright that, I can't think of jokes. Anyways, the effigies are ghost pour rewards and temporary sweepers. This passive is, in my opinion, extremely powerful. Like, so powerful. Like, oh my god, why is it not taken into pro play? This passive ability will literally ping enemies on the map when they activate the effigy. There's a trade-off though. The effigy disappears just like the Ghost Poro, but I mean, it pings your brain-dead solo queue teammates to pay attention to the map for once. A worthy trade-off in my opinion. In lane, you're going to be maxing your E, just like pre-rework Fiddlesticks. You're going to establish dominance not with your bouncing boys, but your slinging slasher. It's not as easy to hit. I mean, it's literally a skill shot instead of a point and click, but it can still hit both enemies, silence, and most importantly, do damage. And it also slows now too. At level 1, it does 70 base damage, which literally at level 1 is quite a lot of damage. It's also relatively cheap to cast, despite being on a 10-second cooldown at level 1. There's still enough of an impact that you can cast it on cooldown to establish dominance in lane. And that's pretty much all you're going to do until you hit level 6. I mean, if you're fighting before level 6, you can totally do that, by the way. Just point and click fear and bam, they're dead. Level 6 is when this pick becomes absolutely dangerous and arguably impossible to play against. Why is it arguably impossible to play against? No matter where you are, even if the enemies know where you are, you will always have the jump in combat in lane, because lane is not big enough to keep enemies safe from the jump of your ult. Either push up and risk being killed or sit under tower all game. It's almost exactly like playing against top lane Rengar, because Rengar's jump extends exactly far enough to reach the end of the lane. It's very, very oppressive. Post 6 Fiddlesticks is also excellent at roaming the map. Ward a huge chunk of the map and look for picks in the mid lane and jungle. Banking is easy even if you don't have your ultimate as well. You can just run up and press Q on them. Playing through the rest of the game is quite easy as well. Just play like normal jungle Fiddlesticks would. Roam around the map and look for easy picks with your ult. Roam like an Alistar Leona would. Blah blah blah, runes. You're going to be running many options, so I'll go over them with my favorites first. Aftershock, Font of Life, pretty much anything else honestly. Fiddlesticks is a specialist champion, and because of that, they're going to be able to have a lot of flexibility in choice of rune. Airy, Comet, Dark Harvest, Predator. I think the world is your oyster with this pick, but I pick Aftershock because it gives a lot of survivability in early game fights. You can easily die in these fights, and the amount of CC you have, it's literally no problem to proc. However, secondary runes are non-negotiable, in my opinion once again. Perfect Timing and Cosmic Insight, super good. Even take super booties if you don't have money to spend on boots. But like Perfect Timing is a must take because Zhonya's is a must buy every game. And that's about it for this video. If you liked it, make sure to leave a comment and subscribe because my monkey brain likes it when numbers go up. Check me out on Twitch. I'm way more active on there, and yeah, I'll see you next time.